I'm building a nonprofit technology startup, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I'm preparing for that as a solo, non-technical founder. There are 4 areas that I'm going to be focusing on to help me build the foundation that I need to enter into this industry. So let's walk through them. So the first point is community psychology. I got my master's in community psychology back in 2023. It's actually called Community and Social Change down in Miami, Florida at the University of Miami. And what does the degree essentially helps with is system thinking. So think just a regular individual psychologist and what they do. They see an individual, they treat that individual, they diagnose that individual, they come up with treatment plans, and they're consistent in that treatment plan to help obviously revitalize that person, get them back to feeling a sense of belonging and well-being within their own identity and within their community. But what a community psychology does is look beyond that individual and look at the environment, different barriers of access, any type of restrictions or anything that collectively hinders the well-being and belonging of a particular group within that community. So I connected with that degree almost immediately once I read a case study in my bachelor's degree about community psychology. So that's how I moved in to learn more about community psychology and eventually get the degree. So my background is community psychology, and it helped with the system thinking and how to bring psychology into nonprofits and things of that nature. And lastly, I'll say what the degree or community psychology helped with, also helped me with understanding the restrictions and limitations within the nonprofit industrial complex. And that's basically understanding funding and how the nonprofit industrial complex is essentially putting profit over people. So those limitations or that awareness allow for me to have an understanding of what I can do differently and how and what sustainability looks like within that industrial complex, or how to create a business model that prevents that. So that was a really good education, really good background. And the reason why I got the degree because I always wanted to start a nonprofit, but I figured just passion alone, was it gonna create a sustainable organization? So I came in with some logical thinking of, if I want to do this or be a part of another nonprofit, I want to have some background and understanding to see how, 1, the organization can be impactful, and 2, how it can be sustainable. And 3, I actually have, through my education, learned that every nonprofit doesn't have to be 100 years. How can you create an organization that has a specific and niched impact model where maybe it needs to only be in business for 20 years, 10 years. So I'm interested in that type of sustainability model, and community psychology definitely allowed for me to have a greater scale at understanding that. So I'm excited, and that's my background and why I am building a nonprofit tech startup. So yeah. Second point is take action before you're ready. There's so many quotes and sayings of do it scared, just do it, like Nike say, start before you're ready. But one quote that actually changed or allowed me to have some type of pattern interrupter was, take action now so that you can have the data so that you can iterate later. And if you don't take that action, you would never have the data to progress. For some reason, I mean, it sounds very logical, but for some reason that was that allowed for me to take action over the other quotes of do it scared or just do it. It allowed for me, I guess, for my understanding of how things work, to just do it. And I needed that data to do it. So that's how my brain works now, or that's how I look at it. I say you need the data, so you just have to do something. And I try to do something every day. But that actually propelled me into creating my first MVP, which is a minimal viable product of the idea that I have, which I had a big idea, and the minimal viable product allowed for me to simplify that idea the best I can, and put it on paper, honestly, of what from A to B of what my ultimate goal and vision was for the product. So that was great. And I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't tapped into that mindset shift. So that was really, really good. I was able to test it. I actually created a clickable prototype of that MVP, all because I just took one simple action. Actually, it was multiple in the progress of creating the MVP, but it was great because, like I said, I had the data to do it. It was small, but it was testable, and I was able to put it in front of some other people to get the idea out of my head. And it actually helped me, because I was able to finally see my idea on paper and talk to people about it and get some feedback on how people felt about it. And the main thing at that point was just to hear from other people to say, yes, that makes sense. Not necessarily would you use it, but does this make sense? Can you understand this? So I was looking for things like that, and I got it. And then from that, I was able to say, I think this other feature needs to be added in the MVP. As I continue to build, so that my idea is fully understandable. Making the MVP lean as possible, but if I wouldn't have taken action, I wouldn't have had the idea to add that new feature. So I'm excited. And point number 3 is building in public and documenting the journey. For one, I'm creating a community organization, community company, whatever you want to call it. And I don't think that if you create a community organization, that it should be done in isolation. So I'm very, very big with building in public and seeing how I can connect with real people about real issues, getting their feedback, eventually adding people to the team if they align with the mission. But building in public is something that I was very, very interested in. I know it's like a hot topic and things of that nature, but I think it's very powerful. I have learned so much from people online, so I'm very interested to be able to leave a living legacy of what I'm building, and just be a part of change here online. Yeah, because a lot of people think that AI is going to take over, but I can almost guarantee you I am chronically online, more specifically YouTube, and AI cannot take over from people's lived experience. So I'm interested in meeting new people, connecting with people, hearing other people's idea, and just building a very strong and impactful company. Leading into a strong, impactful company, my 4th point is your network equals your net worth. I don't know who I got that quote from. However, I've been leaning into the early founding subscribers, early founding supporters, and seeing who support me and how we can connect, even if we aren't in the same industry, just seeing how I can be an asset to what they're building and vice versa. And just making it like a very diverse experience. Like, everyone do not have to be in the same industry as me, because like I said, I'm using for-profit models to create a nonprofit organization. So I believe that diversity is very impactful, very strong in collaboration and in building. So I'm very interested in that. And I've been going on lunch dates, coffee dates, just talking to people, communicating, seeing what everybody is doing. Because I feel like in the past, I don't know, almost a decade, I've had this idea, and I've been just working and just being in isolation with my thoughts, not taking action, still working on my career and everything like that, but not just burying this idea of creating and building something that is beyond my own imagination. So it's very refreshing to communicate with people and see what they're building and see how I could be an asset. Building something meaningful should not be done alone. So I'm so excited to just be leaning on people, leaning on my church, leaning on people that I haven't communicated with in a while, and seeing what everybody's up to, so that we can just create something that's impactful, and hearing everybody's perspective, because a lot of people have either negative perspectives on nonprofits, or maybe they have zero idea. So I'm interested in bringing more of a refresher or a more interesting perspective of nonprofits, and giving my generation in my cohort of people more of a different perspective on nonprofits. Yeah, so I'm rambling at this point. And in closing, the 4 tips, you should be able to take 2 out of 4, if anything. I hopefully all 4. But to reiterate in closing, lean on what your background is. Whatever your background is, dig into it. So for me, it was community psychology, and that understanding is allowing me to create what I would believe to be something that's, like I said, beyond my understanding. So lean on your background. Start before you can even consciously think, and just understand that it's data, and just get out there, because eventually you'll create your idea will be on paper and you'll be super excited. Um, and build in public. It don't necessarily have to be online. Like I said, I'm getting myself back in my church, being more involved in my church. So that could be that can be just out of your norm or out of your bubble. Tell people what you're doing in different circles that you haven't spoke up before. That's considerably building in public, because it's out of your I guess friend group. So yeah, and then lastly, just build a diverse network that go hand in hand with building in public. But just because someone isn't in the industry that you're building, you can definitely connect with them, because I think it's important. You just never know what you may be able to offer someone else and what they can offer you. So you want to connect, and I'm very interested in see what some of these relationships that where they can take both of us. I'm very interested. I've heard some business ideas that I may be able to collaborate with, or that organization may be able to collaborate with, because it's very interesting. And to just give a synopsis of what I'm building, it's a multidisciplinary tech company where, like I said, as a psychologist, a community psychologist, I'm looking to see how I can, I'm studying the ecosystem of a particular group, and what products, programs, or strategies I can give them through research by doing community participatory research with the particular group. The first project will be the tech product, will be a powerhouse of the enterprise, essentially. What the research will flow through, what the communication will flow through, it will flow through that particular tech product. So I'm super, super excited. I'm trying to go beyond my limitations, not be scared, and just because God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of, I might butcher this Bible verse, but if you know, you know. He doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but of love and a sound mind. And I'm grateful, and I'm happy, and just continue to watch to see more in the process of what I'm building. Bye.